St. Mary's County has some of the most waterfront by linear foot compared to any other county in Maryland. So that means it can be pretty confusing on which waterfront is best for you. Watch this video and I'll try to break it down for you. Hey, my name is Rob Schou. I'm a real estate agent down here in Southern Maryland with EXP Realty, and the whole goal of this channel is to help make your move to Southern Maryland so much easier. So if that's something you're going to be doing, use the contact information below. Call me, text me, and I'd be happy to help any way that I possibly can. Let's go ahead and jump right into this and really explore the different waterfront areas in St. Mary's County. Now, to lay the groundwork, there's different bodies of water that are encompassing St. Mary's County because it is a peninsula. To the north is going to be the Patuxent River, to the south is going to be the Potomac River, and to the east is going to be the Chesapeake Bay. Now, on the Chesapeake Bay side, you're going to get more exposed shoreline and bigger views. So if you're someone that wants to see that sunrise in the east in the morning and you're okay with maybe needing a lot of riprap on your shoreline, then I'm going to tell you right now, the Chesapeake Bay areas are probably going to be your best bet. And a lot of that land is taken up by Pax River, but once you get south of Pax River into St. Inigo, Scotland, places like that, you're going to start seeing some bayfront property. Now, sometimes you can find bayfront property that has a small beach or even a larger beach, but you are going to have to deal with more erosion, and the chances of you being able to have a boat and a boat lift and a dock on the open Chesapeake Bay is a little less likely just because of the wave action you're going to get. And if you do have one on there, just be prepared for lots of maintenance, because once you get those big storms from the east or that occasional tropical storm that we get, you're going to lose boards, things are going to happen, and it just isn't as safe and secure as some of the areas that we're going to talk about later on in the video. The second body of the water is going to be the Potomac. Now, the Potomac in some areas is almost as wide across as the Chesapeake Bay, but there are some more protected areas along the Potomac. Tall timbers is not as bad as the open bay. I feel like you can have a better chance of having a boat lift out there, having a boat dock, and not having it get really beat up during bad weather. But you're still going to need a really solid riprap shoreline to make sure that you don't start losing shoreline as you live at the house. Now, something unique to the Potomac compared to the Chesapeake Bay waterfront is if you're looking on the Potomac, you're going to notice there's lots of tributaries as well. The ones that come to mind are Smith Creek, St. Mary's River, Breton Bay, and Little Wacomico. Those are all places that you're going to get more protective water. And a lot of these places that you're going to be looking at on the St. Mary's River, on Smith Creek, Breton Bay, and places like that are going to have the ability for you to keep multiple boats on there and hopefully have them a little bit more protected from a lot of the wind and waves and stuff like that you see on the open Potomac and the open bay as well. Now, for me, I prefer a more protected creek, and I myself live on the Potomac River off of a little creek. And I really like the fact that my boat is pretty safe where it is. I don't have to worry about it getting beat up with any wind or waves and stuff like that. And the shoreline I have is pretty stable, so I don't have to worry about too much riprap on there. And riprap are all the rocks that you see on the shoreline, and it can get pretty expensive to either put that in new or have to repair it. So I try to avoid it when I can. Now, one big con about the Potomac River and its tributaries, in my opinion, is there's not a ton of stuff to do around there, especially compared to the Patuxent River, which we'll get into next. But there is some stuff. So if you're someone that likes shark's teeth, you can go do some shark's tooth hunting at Shark's Tooth Island. And also there are a handful of restaurants on the Maryland and Virginia side, but it's not as populated and it's not as many as that Pax River area. And honestly, the Potomac River is actually pretty wide in that area of St. Mary's County, and it can get pretty rough if you're not careful and don't mind the wind direction and the tide. So it's one of those things that if you're someone that just wants to be out on the water, tooling around in the creeks, you don't mind not having restaurants and bars to go to, then the Potomac can be really great. But if you're someone that's really into the nightlife and you want, to be able to go to the tiki bar and stuff like that, the Patuxent River, which I'm about to talk about now, might be a better option. So the third one is going to be the Patuxent River, and there's a few different areas on the open Patuxent. And because the Patuxent is not as wide, it's not going to be as vulnerable to wind and wave action. But I will say, because of all the boats in that area, you still can get a pretty beat up shoreline. So it's better to have riprap on that shoreline because of that. Now, there are some tributaries off the Patuxent you can keep a boat. I'm thinking like Cuckold Creek and places like that. And that one actually does have some deeper water as well. So if you're someone that's looking for deeper water in St. Mary's County in a creek, really, the creeks off the Patuxent are probably the best way to go. There's Kingston Creek, Cuckold Creek. Both of those have some good deep water in different parts of the creek. And really, a lot of the same pros from the Potomac Creek apply to the Patuxent Creek. They're more protected. You're not going to have as much wind and wave action. And you're also going to be able to get away with like a shorter pier compared to other areas because, like I said, the water depth is going to be a little bit more in that Patuxent River area. Another pro to the Patuxent River area is you're close to Solomon's. If you're someone that wants to have a place to go when you're boating, whether it's a bar like the Tiki Bar or multiple different restaurants, the Patuxent is your better choice. That being said, if you're someone that you want more secluded water access, you don't want a bunch of people out there, and you don't want to look like a 1980s movie with a bunch of ski boats going back and forth, then the Patuxent is probably not the best choice for you. You probably want to look in the Potomac then. Look, to sum this up, in my opinion, if you're looking for just those bay views where they're just wide open and you see nothing but water, probably the bayfront is best. If you're looking for nice waterfront that's a little bit more protected and secluded, then the Potomac is the way to go. And if you're looking for protected waterfront that's close to a lot of action, I'd say the Patuxent is probably your best bet. So if you have any questions or need any help about any of these water bodies, use the contact information below. Call me, text me, and I'd be happy to help any way that I possibly can. Look, I really appreciate you watching this video, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.